Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We are two best friends who live and breathe horror, and we are ready to break down, analyze, laugh, and maybe let out a little scream or two along the way. I am Emma, and as always, I am here with my partner in fright. Ooh, do you like that?
Partner in fright.
Allison.
That me, I'm Allison.
Allie, what the frickin' heck have you been up to?
A lot, actually.
You have been gone out of my life for too long.
No, it's been.
I think I did text you at one point on your trip and I said, it's been 84 years.
I went on a bitchin' road trip with my parents. It was about 2 weeks long, and I felt like, in a good way and a bad way. Like, in a good way because it was bitchin', and in a bad way because I missed you.
I missed you.
But I did get to see some really cool-ass places in California where they filmed a bunch of stuff. Like, in Jenner, I got to see where they filmed part of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Went to Bodega Bay, where they filmed The Birds.
So cool.
A couple other places. But yeah, it was a fun road trip. Also went to a Taco Bell on the beach. And currently we have Comic-Con in town, so we've been dabbling a little bit with that. Kind of cool. But what about you?
Speaking of Comic-Con, I just did an amazing Clown in a Cornfield experience, and it was put on by Shudder. That was super, super fun. Really, really glad we got to do that. I'm sorry, Als, that we were not together. And me and the producer have just been like enjoying summertime. We also got AMC memberships, so we saw the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, that's like pretty much all like we've been doing.
Well,
it's full-fledged summertime over here.
But it feels like fall in our hearts.
Well, I mean, I'm ready for Halloween.
Yes.
And I'm fully going to decorate. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I was going to start decorating. I haven't yet. We've been busy, but I am going to immediately. Probably when we're done with this episode.
Blasphemy, but even less blasphemous is we also celebrated our 2-year pod anniversary.
Oh my God, duh. Happy anniversary.
Happy Annie.
Oh my gosh. 2 years. I can't even describe how it has felt so fast. It has gone by in a freaking blink of an eye, but I cannot wait for many, many more years together for this podcast. And thank you to everyone who listens. We love you all. Y'all are just like the freaking best. And we can't wait to just keep doing this podcast for many years to come.
And we're going to level up.
We're leveling up. Als, do you want to tell everyone what we are reviewing today?
I sure do. We are doing The Burning of 1981. I hadn't seen this before. Had you had any like thoughts about it?
No, I never even saw it. I will say though, the reason we picked this film is because we've heard from a lot of people in the horror community, like this is a very loved film. And when you talk about summertime horror or cabin horror, camp horror, anything kind of in that realm, this film always gets brought up.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it. And then when I did start telling people we were covering it, I got a lot of mixed responses.
Okay.
So I can understand that. But all I needed was 80s summer camp. And I was, hell yeah, let's watch it. Also, after reading a little bit more about it, it's based around this killer named Cropsey. And I was like, Cropsey, that sounds familiar. And I actually watched a documentary that came out in 2009 this movie is loosely based off of. So I'll kind of talk about that a little bit.
Oh, wait, that's cool. I kind of want to watch that now.
It's very sad.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Speaking of spoilers, if you haven't seen The Burning, this is your warning because we're going to talk the shit about it and everything that happens in the movie. So if you don't want us to ruin it for you, stop it, go watch it. Or if you don't give a fuck, come on this bitchin' canoe ride with us.
Oh, hell yeah, sister. This film is about an abusive former summer camp caretaker named Cropsey, who is horribly burned from a prank gone wrong. And 5 years later, he lurks around upstate New York at a different summer camp called Stonewater with garden shears, and he is hell-bent on killing the teenagers responsible for his disfigurement.
And like I kind of said, this is based on an urban legend that lived in upstate New York. Like, or the origin is around Staten Island, but it spread out into different parts of New York, and it's kind of like those urban legends, those tall tales to keep your kids from like wandering off into the forest or whatever.
It's so fun. Yeah, kind of like a Grimm fairy tale almost.
Yeah, a Grimm's, but this one is based off this Cropsey character that actually happened.
Interesting.
In New York. Yeah.
I also love the tagline for this film. It's gather around the campfire to die. So really fucking straight to the point.
An interesting marketing campaign.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. This was released on May 8th, 1981, and it had a limited theater run. It received mixed reviews, with many critics stating that it was too similar to Friday the 13th, but they praised the film because of the special effects. The struggle was mainly due to, at this time period, there was an oversaturation of slasher films. So especially having to compete with like Friday the 13th Part 2 in box office, its theatrical run really quickly fizzled out, but it ended up becoming a classic, a cult classic over the years.
Kind of interesting to me because I hadn't heard of it before.
No, same.
If it's so culty, how did I not hear about it?
I know. And this film has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which I may surprise everyone who listens to this podcast because usually I very much align myself with having the same views as IMDb. I didn't really care for this film that much. And I'm so sorry if that upsets anyone, but I don't know if I agree with the 6.2. I would have maybe given it somewhere in the 5 range, which I think is still giving it some kudos.
Now look who's stirring the pot.
It's me.
It's both of us, actually. The tomato meter gave it 80%.
That's crazy to me.
And the popcorn meter is 60%, which I agree is closer to the IMDb score, but I would go lower than that.
Something else I want to mention about this film that we're just going to mention like this one time is that The Burning was the result of the Weinsteins' attempt to break into the movie business. And this being technically one of Miramax's first feature films, the creators assumed the boom of the slasher genre of horror wasn't going to last long. So they tried to capitalize on the popularity, and much of the production was really rushed. Even the legendary FX artist Tom Savini admitted that he was given only 3 days to create the burned FX makeup for Cropsey. It's not amazing that the Weinsteins were involved in this film, and I think that there's unfortunately some really creepy undertones within this film because they were very much part of the writing process. So I'm just going to leave that there. But
I can't promise that I don't bring it up a little bit.
It's okay. But I was going to say, the one thing we can mention is that fucking Tom Savini is the man. And we have met him. We got to meet him at Texas Frightmare Weekend, and he's just the best. And I had no clue that he worked on this. So, like, that's so fucking cool.
And that goes to say that, yes, the Weinsteins were involved, but so many other amazing people were also, like the actors, set designers, like everybody involved. Catering, let's shout out catering service, craft services.
We don't want to, like, diminish any of the hard work from the rest of the folks.
Yes.
So all y'all are the best.
Yes.
Something else about Tom Savini, though, is that he also worked on Friday the 13th, and he turned down a return for Friday the 13th Part 2, mostly because he couldn't understand the logic that Jason was full grown and was now the killer. And he describes this whole thing as like miscommunication with some of the film's backers. And he also said that he just liked the overall script for The Burning more, which is kind of interesting. He could have been riding that Friday the 13th franchise, but he was like, I'm going to take a sharp left and do The Burning.
You gotta test the water sometimes.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. We are going to mention most of the top billed cast kind of throughout the film as we're going through, but something kind of cool is that for actors like Holly Hunter and Jason Alexander, this was their first film, which was kind of cool. And Holly Hunter is actually easy to miss because she's like very much in the background of a lot of these scenes.
Even I just learned that now.
Now that we've kind of covered who lit the fire behind The Burning, let's head into the woods and break down exactly what goes down when Camp Stonewater gets a deadly dose of revenge. This film opens at Camp Blackfoot as a group of teenage pranksters sneak into the caretaker of the camp's cabin at night. And the caretaker, his name is Cropsey. They're trying to like get back at Cropsey for, quote, all the things that he's done is kind of what they're discussing as they are sneaking around to his cabin. Their goal in all of this is they just really want to scare the shit out of him. So they're ready to do some pranking.
They were even like, we're going to scare him so bad he's going to have a heart attack. He won't even know.
Yeah.
And they want to scare the shit out of him because everything he's done, but we don't quite know what he's done.
Yeah, we don't get any of that background of like, so why are we going after this man so hard?
Yes, but the boys have this in their mind that they're going to play this prank on Cropsey.
We find out that inside the box is this worm-ridden skull with candles and crazy eye sockets. And one of the kids sneaks into the cabin and sets this skull on Cropsey's bedside table as he's sleeping. And then he sneaks back out. And then all of the boys are banging on the window from outside the cabin trying to wake Cropsey up.
And Cropsey does, in fact, wake up to see that full-ass decomposing skull with lit candles in it. And first off, where the fuck did these kids get a human skull?
No idea, and I'm a little scared.
Yeah. And secondly, does this skull not look exactly like a decorative ceramic skull you would find in like the seasonal Halloween section at HomeGoods or Marshall's?
I was just at Michael's today, and I'm pretty sure I saw this exact skull.
Yep.
So I kind of want it, to be completely honest, but
I'm going to guess it costs like $19.99.
yes,
you know?
Yeah. And Cropsey then freaks out when he wakes up, obviously, and he somehow knocks the skull onto his bed. And this triggers a pretty massive fire that kind of completely engulfs him.
He literally, it had two little like fucking tea lights, the skull. And now all of a sudden, the fire has fully engulfed him. It's got the cabin. And how did this escalate so quickly? And all the boys, what did they think was going to happen?
Yeah, did they expect him to just look at the skull and scream and they were going to laugh? What was the end goal here?
I wish he would have looked at the skull and been like, nice.
I know. I wish he would have been like, hell yeah. I want this.
Rock and roll.
I'm adding this to my decor.
Yes.
So Cropsey runs out of the cabin and he's engulfed in flames and he tumbles into a nearby lake.
What I will say is that he technically did stop, drop, and roll.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But I don't unfortunately think it really helped him much in this case because 1 week later at St. Catherine's Hospital, a nurse shows an intern Cropsey in his oxygen tent. They're kind of discussing like, this guy's burned so bad, like he's absolutely cooked. And they say like, as long as you live, you're never going to see a freak like this, which is so sad because they're like talking shit about him.
The person that like the nurse or whatever he is who's showing Cropsey off is like being like, look at this freak show. Like, why would you talk about one of these patients like that?
He can hear you.
He can
He's
hear
not
you.
Deaf.
And then Cropsey reaches out and grabs that nurse's arm. And we see the bloody, gross, burnt arm. And we don't really know what happens to that dude after that.
Yeah, that's just kind of it. And that sort of sets up the film for what we're going to see now, like moving forward. Do you think anyone saw Cropsey like maybe becoming this slasher legend of the camp? Or is this more of just kind of a tragic cautionary tale?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think horror movie wise based, like, no shit, he's going to want revenge.
Of course, yeah.
But I think the cautionary tale of it all, like I keep saying, it is a real thing. But it's like a game. What I found really interesting is it develops differently throughout the state of New York and beyond. It's like a game of telephone. It's like, oh, you know, this burn guy had an axe. Oh, then he had an axe, and then he would chop you up and then eat you. Like it all transforms. But I think him becoming a slasher, is he a legend?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think I like that you are bringing this like cautionary tale thing into it because it is kind of like, don't fuck with people because people are going to get like their revenge. And this is how, unfortunately, slashers are born, right? Like,
Dude.
They usually don't just come out of thin air. Something has happened to them.
Sidebar, when I don't know if you've ever been told one of these cautionary tales, but I was basically a Boy Scout, and I was on my brother's Boy Scout camping trip. We were sitting by the fire, and they were telling me this tale of this dude who was chopping off limbs of a tree with a chainsaw, and then wind took up, and he accidentally chopped his own head off, and he had like a grave nearby. But if you went to go look for him, he'd chop your head off. Dude, and the fucking kids made a fake grave, and I was terrified. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, it worked.
Jesus Christ.
Talk about cautionary.
I thought you were going to say, because that reminds me of, there's another cautionary tale, just real quick. The one of the couple that's in the car and they go somewhere private in like the woods or somewhere like secluded to go and make out. And the tale is like, basically, don't fucking do that. Don't be a slut. Don't be a little slooter pie. Because I guess like they started hearing like something going outside. And then I think the boyfriend like leaves to go investigate. And then the girlfriend hears scratching on the top of the car. And she comes outside and she sees her boyfriend has been like hung from a tree or something like that.
I feel like a lot of these tales are basically don't fucking be slutty.
Yeah. Well, don't be dumb. Don't play games. Don't be slutty. And don't burn people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I feel like Freddy Krueger could attest to that.
But the burnt, like, these kids didn't intentionally burn him.
No, that's true.
But
that's true.
even so, do we sympathize with Cropsey being burned?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Als, we don't know what he quote unquote did. I don't know. If he was being like weird and freaky with these boys, then like, fuck yeah, burn that motherfucker. Cause like we don't stand for that. Or we take him to court.
We tell the camp supervisor, hey, this guy's being creepy.
You're right. Okay, maybe have due process. I don't know.
Because like now these campers, even if he hadn't been burned, now these campers have found a human skull and are playing with it. How you going to explain that, campers?
Yeah. I did kind of feel bad for him. You know, he seemed, I think when someone's sleeping, they're in like such a vulnerable state. And so I feel like it just kind of sucked that it turned into what it did. But yeah, I guess we're going to see what happens.
You do treasure your sleep.
I do. Nobody fuck with me when I'm sleeping, please. Then 5 years later, Cropsey, who is not really like pictured, we can't really see him. It's a lot of things in this moment are his POV. He's released from the hospital and he's heavily scarred from like failed skin grafts and stuff is kind of what we've gathered. One of the nurses or like the doctor says to him, I know that you still resent those kids, but it was just an accident. So clearly he still has very heavy emotions about it, which I mean, I probably would too.
I would too. I mean, for vanity reasons alone, I'd be like fucking pissed.
Yeah, like this is bullshit.
And these hospital people are like, you know, they accident, kids will be kids. And I'm like, okay, I'm in my 30s and I still feel like a kid. Does that count for me?
Yeah, maybe.
The answer should have been no, but because it shouldn't count for these kids either.
Yeah. As Cropsey's leaving, like he hides in the shadows. He's like wearing dark clothing and a hat. He's really trying to like avoid revealing his face and his body, which is so sad. But where does this guy go? Of course he's going to make his way to the red light district. Of
course. That's your first stop anywhere.
Exactly. A prostitute invites him to kind of spend the evening with her. And they go into like, I don't know if it's like a brothel or like a hotel maybe or something.
I want to say it's like her apartment.
Oh yeah, it is kind of like her apartment, right? She invites him in and he wants to keep all the lights off, and obviously. Yeah,
he doesn't want to like scare her off too soon. She understands, but she's also like, boo, I got to make that money, honey, so can we speed this shit up? I got to go find some more ass so I can pay my bills. Yeah. And eventually, Cropsey does step into some light, and Homegirl, our lady of the night, panics when she sees his face, and we don't see his face. We see her reacting, and she's basically like, please, no, just leave. I don't have, who are you? I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah, she's for sure freaked out. And we're only seeing his POV still in this moment. And so we see that he grabs some like sewing scissors, some shears, and he murders her swiftly.
He literally just stabs her in the stomach, and then the twist of the shears kind of, that gets ya.
Yikes.
But like, what did she do to him? She is neither camper nor counselor.
Is this where his killer-fueled rage is, like, happening? Is this where it's born, or has it always been there? Did he want to just get a little bit of a taste, and he thought, oh, I can kill a prostitute, no one's going to miss her?
Well, as viewers who have seen this, we know he needs shears because that's part of his little trope. But how did he know this particular lady of the night had shears in her apartment in the red light?
I think it was opportunistic. I think that's just what he had, and he was like, okay, this is going to make a good weapon. No?
And tales later, they said he always had shears.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how he just like psychically knew this gal had shears.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Anyways, he has shears now. And after he's already stabbed her, he like throws her halfway out of her apartment window and just leaves her there. And this reminded me of Scream 3 a little.
Yes,
totally. When like the gal who's playing Candy is in Roman's office.
Yeah.
But there's blood everywhere, and now she's dead.
She be dead. Later at Camp Stonewater, so again, this is a different camp from Camp Blackfoot. We meet counselors Todd, played by Brian Matthews, Michelle, played by Leah Aris, and Alfred, played by Brian Backer. Brian Backer was also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
One of my faves.
Yeah, fun fact there. And we also meet some campers portrayed by some future stars, like I mentioned at the top, Jason Alexander, Holly Hunter, and Fisher Stevens. All of the campers and presumably the counselors, you can't really tell who's who, to be completely honest, but they're all playing baseball, and there's a lot of sexual tension. A lot of girls are just wearing underwear or like little crop tops, and I know that this was like kind of the vibe in the 80s, but Yeah, definitely like some sexual tension undertones.
Undertones. Okay. What's the opposite? An overtone?
Overtones,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's just the girls playing and all these boys are just sitting watching their booties bounce around.
Oh, yeah, it might be just the girls. You're right.
And again, I cannot fucking tell who's a camper or who is a counselor. They all look like they just graduated college and should be looking for a full-time job, but that's all right.
Later on, we're going to see some campers that are really young that look like they're in grade school.
Yeah.
And then some that look like they're in college. So this is a vast variety.
Yeah, we got a big spread on age here. But like you said, I love an 80s camp look. And something that I always think about is, do you think 40 years from now, the kids will be like, oh, I just loved that 2020s camp look?
Absolutely. 100%.
2020s?
Yes.
What is it? What, like just looking at your phone and wearing like an off-the-shoulder sweatshirt?
Yeah, they're like, ooh, baggy jeans.
Baggy.
Love that.
God, we suck.
As the girls are playing, one of the balls lands in the woods, and one of the girls, I think her name's Tiger.
Her name is Tiger, and what in the acid tripping parent named their daughter Tiger, but also it's kind of badass.
I kind of love it.
Yeah.
She goes and grabs it, and we see the point of view of what is likely Cropsey, and he's stalking her in the brush around where she is looking for the ball, and he's got his shears, and he is in all black.
Isn't Homeboy like warm in that?
Likely.
All black. But like you said, we get his first person point of view. And we see that a fair amount in this film, meaning that Cropsey's around, he's stalking you, blah, blah, blah. And there are two things that we see with his POV, and that's he's got a steady heartbeat. Kind of like the sound, his steady heartbeat. Yeah.
Like nothing phases him.
Nothing. He's about to kill.
Keeled.
Yeah, he's about to kill somebody, but he's cool. He's calm, cool, and collected.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like the sound when we hear, is it Michael Myers that we hear breathing while it's his POV? Mm-hmm. And the second thing we see is blurryish vision. And that could be from his burn injuries or his innate killer tunnel vision. And I just got to say, you know what else has tunnel vision?
Oh, God.
The fucking Polar Express. Because they go through a tunnel and their vision is to believe in the magic of Christmas. But anyways, but to get this blurred effect, they actually smeared Vaseline around the edges of the cameras they were using.
Oh, that's fun.
That's fun, but it sounds like a bitch to clean up.
Yeah, probably. But still like a cool effect.
Yeah.
Oh, love that. As what's-her-face, Tiger, is in the brush, she narrowly misses any sort of attack. So Cropsey does not get her. She is able to make her way back to all of her friends playing her game. But it kind of, as the viewer, it's like, ooh, it's like our first rush with like, he's clearly going to do something to some campers at some point.
She literally just bounces back to the game like a little deer in her matching two-piece athleisure set.
Yeah.
And I just really hope she didn't get poison oak because that should be all in that forest.
Would any of us have expected the first Cropsey kill to happen off screen in the city? Just going back to the prostitute? Or like, would you have thought always that it was going to be the campers because of just his like story?
I'm going to need more information about where the hospital is because that could have something to do with it.
Yes.
You gotta get through that red light district to get to that camp. Maybe.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's true, my girl.
He needed to bust his nut with his first kill, get some shears. And then go hit the town, hit the camp red.
Hit the camp red.
Know? What I will say is this summer camp seems really fucking fun. Just like it's a vibe. It's very summer campy vibes. And I feel like it'd be amazing minus all of the creepy, horny boy teenagers and a scary killer on the loose.
Just minus those things.
Yeah. And all I'm saying is this could be solved if all of these girls just go to Camp Walden from the Parent Trap and everything would be okay.
Yeah. Fully agree. Just full stop.
You know, they have it's just women and that one little boy whose parents accidentally sent him there. But he fit in.
He fit in.
Yep.
Then later at the cafeteria, there are dozens of campers dining, and some of the teenage gals are talking about the boys that they're into for the summer.
And this is so problematic. And I want to know if these conversations like actually happened. They're like, oh, I like so-and-so, but he kind of scares me, but I still like him.
So I would not doubt if some of these conversations were happening and if some of these teenage boys were just coming off a little too strong.
But yes. But also keep in mind, neither of us went to like a sleepaway camp.
That's very true.
Could have been happening.
Then the next morning, some of the campers are waking up and we see Sally, who goes to shower.
And what I will say, as she's leaving the fucking cabin, and she's got like 12 other people sleeping in there with her, we see another sleeping camper swat a fly off her face. And yet Sally proceeds to leave that fucking cabin door open when she leaves to go shower. And all I'm saying is Sally's the fly problem. But talking about the showers, these look fucking wonky as shit. Like there's literally no roof on them, and it looks like a cardboard box with some saran wrap as a curtain. And again, talking about not being able to determine camper versus counselor, is Sally supposed to be a camper or a counselor? Because what's with this boob shot?
I think that she's a counselor. But to be honest, I don't fucking know. And I agree. There's a lot of boobies in this.
I'm holding my tongue about what I was going to say. But while she's showering, she hears some strange noises, and she thinks it's Counselor Michelle. I think Michelle is her counselor.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
But anyway, she thinks it's another girl that's like trying to get her attention.
And it ends up being Alfred, who really freaked Sally out because he was watching her and he wouldn't leave. Rightfully so. Like, not cool, Alfred. And one of the camp counselor girls, Michelle, and Counselor Todd and Creepy Eddie come over to her rescue, and they run into Alfred trying to like escape the situation.
And Alfred says, I just meant to scare her. And this is the first time we can really tell that Alfred is a freak. And Creepy Eddie is giving Alfred shit, but in the back of his mind, I can just tell he's like, damn, that would have been a good idea to go watch Sally shower.
Gross.
He's creepy.
Yeah. And after the altercation, Michelle confides in Todd, telling him that she thinks that Mr. Alfred is a sexual pervert and that they should maybe throw him out of camp. But Todd is like, no, he's just misunderstood. Like, he's not as dangerous or as much of a problem. And so Todd like fully disagrees.
And yeah, he writes it off as boys will be boys. And
which, oh my God, that is such a problematic phrase to this day. But yeah, back then, that is what people said for sure.
Also, I'm pretty sure these two, Michelle and Todd, are, well, first of all, they make a very attractive couple, but I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be a couple. So
yeah,
stand by your
lovers.
woman.
Absolutely.
But sidebar, I think all of the boys at this camp are pretty much creepy asshats.
Fully agree.
Yes.
Fully agree. And later, Todd actually confronts Alfred asking why he was snooping around the showers. And he says, I only wanted to scare her. So just like Allie had mentioned. And he also says, they're always picking on me.
I get that. But first of all, Alfred's doing things to be picked on. And I feel like he's taking it a little too sensitively. I think a lot of the guys want to help him out and are just kind of messing with him in like a bro-y kind of way. Like a joking kind of way. Like, try harder, Alfred. And after he says, I just wanted to scare her, Todd is like, well, what do you think Glazer would do to handle that? And we don't know who that is yet, but he be coming up. And who named all these fucking kids? Glazer? Did they like donuts?
I literally was like, either that's a donut or it kind of reminds me of a glizzy, like a hot dog. So,
oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah. Either way, both food.
Todd and Alfred are still talking. And Todd's like, yo, you don't need to face camp alone. You can always come lean on me. And I think he admits that he had also been a camper at a different camp a long time ago, 5 years ago. Keep in mind, 5 years ago. But he got kicked out. He didn't expand on it. But something about that kind of timeline makes you think.
Who approved of Todd being a camp counselor knowing that he was kicked out? I'm confused.
Did you read the resume?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Glazer, he crosses paths with Alfred, and Glazer for sure gives Alfred a hard time. He's like waiting to confront Alfred and is like, don't you try to mess with my girl, you little fuckwad.
And how the fuck is Glazer supposed to pass for a teenager? He looks like he could be Sally's dad, but he's our classic camp tough guy who thinks he's the shit, but kind of like in an embarrassing way. Like, he thinks he's the shit, but he just sounds like a pompous ass and kind of, making stuff up to seem tough.
Yeah, it's like not giving cool. Also in this scene, I love it. I don't know if you clocked it, but because he's like leaning against a pole as Alfred is walking by, and he like has to like push himself 8 feet forward for him and Alfred even to cross paths.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, why are you in my way? It's like, bro, you were actually kind of in Alfred's way. Like,
True.
sorry.
But him and his like meat sack body have a point to prove.
Yeah, very true. And he tells them again, he's like, I'm just going to tell you one more time, like, you stay away from my girl.
I'm not sure if Sally would agree that she's your girl, but
Agreed. Yeah. Later, as some of the boys are taking Alfred to the lake to go swimming, and they're all like trying to show him like the ropes, he is definitely not stoked about it.
he says to all the guys, I hate swimming. And Dave is like, of course you do. You hate everything.
And while some of the other guys are swimming, Glazer sneaks up on Alfred and pushes him in. And this causes like a huge frenzy with the other campers who are concerned because they know Alfred can't swim. But thankfully, he survives like that whole ordeal.
Why wouldn't Alfred just say,
like, I hate it because I don't know how to do it.
And I feel like you should low-key be required to have some sort of swim certificate. No, like saying, I know how to swim. If you're going to go to a summer camp that's surrounded by various bodies of water and several aquatic activities.
100% agree.
And I'm not sure why. No, I know why. But this scene reminds me of the one between Wednesday and Amanda from Addams Family Values where she jumps in. She's like, help me, I'm drowning.
Oh, yeah.
And Wednesday says, I can't swim.
You want to know what else this reminds me of? Angela in Sleepaway Camp when she gets pushed into the pool, but she doesn't want to go swimming for maybe some other reasons.
She's got a different issue going on there.
Glazer then swims over to the dock where a lot of the girls are hanging out, and he's asking Sally if she will go for a swim with him, but she says she doesn't want to get her hair wet.
That is a valid excuse, Sally. I accept. It resonates, and I accept that answer. And I also love how Sally and all the other girls are kind of being snide with Glazer. They're not being like, oh, Glazer. They're just kind of giving him shit.
Yeah.
And can someone tell me what the fuck that square wood thing floating in the middle of the water is? You see it in a lot of movies, but it's just like a square dock wood thing.
That's what it is literally just a dock. But instead of it being connected to land, it's just out in the middle of the water.
I hate it. Buoyancy is not buoyancying. I don't understand it.
Speaking of docks, from the boys' dock, some of the boys are aiming a BB gun at Glazer, and they do shoot him, and he freaks the fuck out in anger, which I thought was kind of funny.
But they do this in Alfred's defense because Glazer fucked with Alfred, and I'm like, see, Alfred, maybe they do want to help you out and be your friend. Yeah. More importantly, how the fuck do they have a BB gun at a camp, and how does no counselor or authority figure be like, that's a BB gun, and they're going to use it? Also, I got shot in the butt with a BB gun one time.
I don't even know the difference between a real gun and a BB gun if I saw them together.
Yeah.
I asked the producer when we were watching this, I said, whoa, is that a BB gun? Because I was like, why is he pointing a gun at another camper? Like,
totally.
That's so like gnarly to me.
But so that happens, and both the boys and girls are laughing, and Glazer's still losing his shit, and another girl just pushes him back in the water, and it's like, bro, you ain't that tough.
Yeah. Good. And later that night in one of the boys' cabins, the boys are playing games, and some of them are looking at Hustler magazines as Cropsey is snooping around outside.
I feel like apparently Dave, he's the fence of the group who can get you anything you want from the outside and bring it in. Your Playboys, your pills,
your chocolate bars,
your candy. Yeah. Learned that term from Ocean's 8, the fence. Get you. He's like the leprechaun that can just whip out anything you want.
He has all the resources.
Yes.
As this is all happening in the boys' cabin, Alfred sees a face in the window, and it really freaks him the fuck out because it's Cropsey, but he doesn't really know what it is at the moment, and he tries to alert the guys, but no one, of course, is believing him.
I mean, why would you believe this little fuckhead who was spying on a naked girl earlier that day? He's like the boy who cried 80s horror movie.
I was just going to say the boy who cried something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's poor guy. And should we care about these characters before they start dropping? Or does this seem like a lot of it is just pre-slaughter filler?
So I kind of associated these characters as like, so you're reading a book, you kind of start to imagine who might play them in a movie.
Yeah.
But then when I'm watching a movie, I'm like, okay, what's their backstory? Like, what are they like at
Totally.
home? Who are they here versus there? Like, Sally, I can see she's like a daddy's girl. She probably participates in at least one or more beauty pageants a year, and she has a room of just trophies, and she probably rides a horse.
Oh, yeah, absolute horse girl.
And Dave at home, his friends call him Good Time Dave because he can get you in anywhere and get you anything you want. And he seems tough, but he actually just wants to be liked by everyone.
He's kind of like his character in every film.
Yeah.
Like,
so, except for Shallow Hal, he was a dick in that.
yeah, and he was also a dick in fucking Pretty Woman, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so maybe that wasn't.
Never mind.
But that's how I feel about it. Like, yeah, they're, we don't know much about them, but they are young characters.
Yeah. Another question. Are Alfred and Todd like the best slasher buds this side of Final Boy history? Or what are our thoughts on their relationship?
I think it's weird.
I think it's strange because, I mean, we're going to find out in a little bit, but Todd is obviously part of the Cropsey prank from the very beginning of the film. And so I wonder if Todd's like trying to have like a redemption moment by being so kind to Alfred and by really like kind of sticking his neck out for him in a lot of situations.
Learn from my mistakes. Don't be that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very curious about that. So then all of the guys make their way to the mess hall for dinner, and Glazer comes up to Sally and asks if she will come on his canoe with him the next day.
Fucking Sally. All these girls really, maybe is their favorite word. She's like, maybe.
And there's a lot of commentary going on between the girls and the guys groups.
It's mostly about who wants to fuck who.
Absolutely.
And who is scared by somebody but also wants to fuck them at the same time.
And one of the campers, Woodstock, another cool name, leaves the mess hall to get something from his cabin. Some kind of like pills, I think.
I heard Dave, who probably procured these pills for him, say it was vitamin E pills or something.
Oh.
And Woodstock's kind of a smaller guy. And apparently vitamin E helps you grow.
Oh, did not know that.
And he wants to bulk up. So that's happening. He's going to get his pills, and then during this, one of the camp supervisor actually makes an announcement during dinner that some of the older campers are going on an overnight canoe trip that next day. So I don't know, fill up on food. But anyways, it's a 3-day long overnight canoe trip. What the actual fuck?
I mean, that's wild, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, if camp is like 8 weeks long, that's really not that bad.
So I asked my mom, because she went to like a 1.5 month long camp or something, and she would go on a week-long overnight canoe trip.
Oh my God.
At camp.
Jesus.
It's fucking wild. Badass.
Back in the cabin, Woodstock is scared that someone is in the cabin with him. And he's like just hearing things and kind of just getting that vibe that someone's in there. But it turns out to just be Todd.
And we had seen the killer's POV, so we were kind of led to believe that it would be him, but we get a few of these fake out scares in the movie. But it doesn't mean that the killer, Cropsey, isn't lurking around.
I also felt like it almost was trying, even though we like know it's Cropsey, it's like trying to make Todd almost look bad. Like maybe he's like in on it, or it kind of just makes you like question him, I think, a little bit, which was like an interesting play for the movie. Then the next day, as mentioned in the mess hall the night before, most of the older kids are well on their way on this like canoe trip down to what's called Devil's Creek.
And please note that all of the campers and counselors are wearing the exact same clothes they were from the day before. And where's all their camping shit? Because they'd be tipping each other's canoes over too. Like, where's your camping stuff?
I have a fun little fact, actually, Els. I love that you pointed that out because I read somewhere that apparently there was like no budget for the wardrobe for this film. So a lot of the characters are just wearing like their own clothing, which kind of explains why there's such a hodgepodge of different outfits, I feel like, throughout this film. And so, hey, I mean, I didn't pay that close attention to what everyone was wearing, but some of these kids might be literally wearing the same thing throughout the entire film.
I hope they watched it. I mean, I guess it was only 2-week production or whatever.
Yeah, not too bad. Later that night, around the campfire, as everyone's kind of getting settled, Todd tells the legend of Cropsey at Camp Blackfoot and how Cropsey survived being burned alive.
And he also goes into why Cropsey was assumingly problematic. And he says that he would bother the kids, kind of trying to scare them and whatnot. And then one day at Camp Blackfoot, Cropsey was targeting this one little dude. But he was fucking with the wrong camper because that camper turned out to be the prankster that put all this together with the other boys. And then it turned into a whole ass burning thing.
Crazy.
Crazy. when Todd says he survived, but they never found his body, but he's still alive. Okay, but how do we know he's still alive if we don't see like a body or a human?
I thought this was so funny too, because I was like, wait. I'm like so confused. So he's still alive, but there's no body. Also, he ended up in a hospital. Did you guys not read the news?
Yeah.
How did he get there? I have a lot of questions, but
it's a fucking movie.
It's a movie. And nevertheless, I digress. Later, Eddie dresses up with a mask and a fake knife, and he comes into the fire and he scares the shit out of everybody as Todd is telling this story. And this would scare the shit out of me. Would it scare you?
Okay. I think I think it would definitely make me jump. But now, as me right now, I don't think it would innately scare me, but it would make me jump.
I feel like just because of the mere atmosphere of it, like being in the dark, being in the woods, when you can just feel other people's like fright as well. Like we've been in these situations, right? Before where you hear somebody in a group telling a ghost story or something, kind of like everyone's fears are a little bit heightened. So like, I feel like it would get you.
Let's test it out.
I know. I was going to say, when do we find it? Then later that night, as the sun is fully going down, Karen and Eddie, they go and sneak off to skinny dip together. If you remember, Karen actually at the top of the film, she said that she was kind of scared of Eddie when she was like talking in the mess hall with the girls. Homeboy literally just scared everybody at the campfire, but she's like, I'm going to go off with him alone.
She's like, fuck it, let's go. And Eddie, while they're, going off into these woods, tries to kiss her and she pushes him off. And Eddie straight up says, look, bitch. When a boy and girl like each other, this is what they do. He doesn't even apologize or anything. He like holds his ground, and Karen says, oh, I don't like how you brag how you've had so many girls. And he's like, tough shit, baby. Do you want to do it or not?
He's such a douche.
I know. And then classic girl camper, she's like, maybe later.
Maybe.
Meanwhile, she still strips down and goes skinny dipping with him. What the fuck is wrong with these girls? And but while they're in the water, Eddie gets even more aggressive with Karen, and she bounces out of the water. And I'm like, yes, girl, time to balls up and get the fuck out. And as she gets out of the water, her shit isn't by the shore where she left it. So she wanders naked around in this dense-ass forest, as one does.
Yeah, and her clothes are like scattered around purposefully. Cropsey was obviously responsible, and he has it like on a branch over here and like in a bush over here, and he then ambushes her and slashes her throat with the shears. Basically, women that don't put out are getting slashed, is what I'm gathering.
I guess so, but he was originally not attacked by women, so what the fuck?
So where is this?
Yeah. Where's this anger? Let's get it into therapy.
Okay, question. Did you see this kill coming? And was the voyeur like humor setting up the horror too obviously? What are your thoughts?
I just think a naked girl in these 80s slashers equals death scene.
It's almost like the rules of horror films, like from Scream.
It should be one of the, sex equals death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So kind of. And then, we kind of just mentioned it, but it felt like Cropsey is targeting her based on his own like moral judgment, which feels kind of weird. Because like you said, like he was not attacked by any women. So why have you now killed 2 women?
I feel like his revenge rationale has now fully gone out the window, and he's just like fucking kill. And you just hate to see it.
Like any teenagers. Maybe he's like upset because now he's like really ugly too because of all the burns. And he's like, I'm never going to get some lakeside pussy. Ooh.
Say it louder.
Maybe.
You're being a pussy. Say it loud. I'm kidding.
Then the next morning, Todd and Michelle are questioning Eddie, asking where Karen is because they know that they were together the night before.
I just love that Eddie's fully just clothed and laying on the beach. Like, why didn't Cropsey take his clothes? Why didn't Karen put on Eddie's clothes while he was still in the water? Like, to go, wander to find her clothes or go back to camp? And why didn't Cropsey shoot his shot while Eddie was just passed out on the beach?
I had all of the same questions. All of them. Literally.
And so again, 80s slasher, can't think about it too much. But something that bothered me was that Michelle said, we didn't even look for her because we knew she was with you. But then shortly after that, she's like, oh, we wasted so much time looking for her. And I'm like, get your story straight, girl. Because when you go to jail or you're questioned by the police, you gotta have that shit straight.
I'm feeling like a lot of these inconsistencies have to do with how rushed this production was.
Like they did not get an editor. They were just like, go for it. And rightfully so. Eddie's like, bitches, I don't even know where that hoe be, because he actually didn't do it. He didn't.
And he doesn't know where she'd be.
Yeah.
They then all find out that the canoes are gone. They have been taken or they have gone down the river. And Todd and Michelle are kind of freaking out, but trying not to panic anybody else. So they have a little meeting with all of the teens about where the canoes could be. But of course, like no one has any idea.
Yeah. And one of them somebody said Karen might have taken it because camp supervisor Jeff said she could come back if things got too weird. I'm like, what is that about?
Yeah, like what does that mean? Also, how could Karen take multiple canoes? I mean, I guess technically you could tie them all up together, but that just seems like why?
Or she released them.
Point.
She could release them to go downriver.
True, that is true.
Or other campers could have done that as a prank.
Yeah. The entire group decides to split up and they're all going to look in certain areas for these canoes to see if they can find them.
Splitting up is always a good idea.
Always a great idea. Some of the other counselors and campers actually build a makeshift raft. So everyone is like out looking for materials for that. And while this is happening, Sally and Glazer are flirting alone in the woods. And we see Alfred yet again being a little bit of a peeping Tom and watching them.
What's Alfred's fucking obsession with Sally and Glazer?
No idea. No idea. Then back to the counselors and campers that were building the raft. A few of them, after building it, actually 5 of them go upstream to try to get help while the rest of them all stay behind.
Is it just me or did they build this raft very quickly and effectively?
Yep. I fully was like, wow, okay, cool. But you know what? Campers, you can't underestimate them.
They're like all Eagle Scouts or something.
I was just going to say they've got to be like Eagle Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all the Scouts.
Good for them. They got that badge on that sash.
As they're on their little raft trying to make their way back to camp, they paddle towards a floating canoe. They're making their way towards it because they're like, oh shit, maybe Karen's in here. Maybe this can help lead us to the other canoes, what have you. And suddenly, Cropsey emerges from the inside and he's got his shears raised.
This is kind of an epic scene. And I think they have it on the poster of him just like, the shears are open. He's ready to fucking attack. And it's very reminiscent of like surprise jumping out of the water or canoe, kind of like Friday the 13th. But this is a pretty brutal scene.
It is. And this is a scene that I think when a lot of people talk about how much they love this film, they mention how much they love this scene specifically. And we see all 5 campers get slaughtered in one of this film's most iconic and gory sequences. And Tom Savini's practical effects are absolutely at their grisliest.
One of the things I hated was some fingers are cut off. And that's we've said this before. We fucking hate that.
I hate that too.
But basically Cropsey has yeeted everybody on the raft, including creepy Eddie, but he was creepy, so that's fine.
Yeah. Would you say that this is like one of the most brutal daytime slasher attacks ever committed?
As I was watching, I was thinking about that. Have we seen other daytime?
I mean, I'm thinking of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like a lot of that stuff happens in the daytime. It doesn't happen at night.
A lot of that is inside. You're not on the fucking lake where tons of other people could see you.
I feel like a couple of kills also happened in Friday the 13th.
But okay, so I need to think about that more. But brutal? Yes, the most brutal that I can recall.
Then, meanwhile, Todd and Michelle are walking through the woods and they sneak off to go and canoodle together, which, sorry, but you guys have a missing teen and half of your camp has now left to go try to find fucking missing canoes. But yeah, go do your thing. And
they do kiss, and it's nice to see like they have an actual normal consensual relationship. But I agree, they should be fucking watching their campers. And Glazer and Sally are still off in the woods together. And with, Sally is hesitating to fuck Glazer, but she ends up caving and has sex with him. And she does not sound like she's having fun. And he says, it'll be better next time, I promise. And bro, what makes you think there's gonna be a fucking next time? It reminds me of those characters like in Wet Hot American Summer and like Damone from Fast Times that they seem like they fucked around with a bunch of people and seem all tough, but nah, they be nutting real fast.
I'm just dead by you saying nutting.
That's what it is.
Sally is getting a little cold, so Glazer goes off to fetch some matches so that they can start a fire to keep warm. While he is away, Cropsey comes and stalks behind Sally, and he stabs her through her sleeping bag with the shears. Once Glazer returns, he dramatically unzips the bag, and Cropsey, who is next to Sally in the sleeping bag, stabs Glazer through the throat and then pins him to a tree with his shears. It's pretty graphic. And Alfred witnesses everything because he sees Glazer getting the matches from the camp, and he followed him to see what was up. I'm sure just to be creepy and see what was up with him and Sally.
He probably wanted to go see them fuck.
Yeah.
And going back to Cropsey being able to, fucking impale him with scissors and then put him up on a tree or whatever. Isn't Cropsey very injured? How can he lift that meat sack of a man, Glazer, up onto a tree?
I think just like we have the question of Pamela Voorhees' strength in Friday the 13th, Cropsey just might be stronger than we think. He could have had some sort of superhuman strength with the burn accident. We have no idea that could be another film in itself.
He's Edward from Twilight.
As if you could outlift me.
We should have a Twilight watch.
We should. Alfred then runs to go tell Todd what happened, and Todd is, of course, skeptical until he goes and investigates and sees Sally and Glazer's bodies. Poor Alfred is just totally fucking scarred from what he has just witnessed, and he's like, the burnt face.
And he's basically saying, I told you so. That's what I saw outside the fucking cabin, and none of y'all would listen to me.
Seriously. While Alfred and Todd are looking at the bodies and seeing everything that's happening, Todd then gets attacked by Cropsey.
He just kind of slashes his forehead, and that makes him go unconscious.
Yeah.
But sure, that looked painful, so I'm sorry for that. But why not just finish Todd off?
Agreed. But for sake of, I guess, storyline,
for sure,
we're going to keep Todd alive for a little bit longer. And so Alfred runs away and manages to escape a Cropsey attack. We also see, that Todd survived. Then the next morning, the other campers witness the raft floating back to where they were having their little overnight canoe trip, and there's no bodies on it. So they're super confused as to what's happening.
Yeah, they think it's a joke at first. Come on, guys. And then they start to get worried because what the fuck?
Yeah, they're panicking a little bit. And so Michelle decides to get into the water to investigate the raft. And when she goes closer to it, she finds several body parts as well as Woodstock's dead body, which has come up to the surface. And back on shore, people are seeing kind of what's happening out in the water, and panic totally ensues. All of the campers that are still left behind, they are scared, and everyone's just panicking that they're not going to survive. And some of the remaining teens, minus Todd, trying to take their raft back to camp to try to go get help. Todd, he is going to go off to look for Alfred in the woods because he has now been separated from Alfred.
And you don't want those parents showing up on parent pickup day being where the fuck is my son? But Michelle and the rest of the campers are viciously rowing that raft, trying to get back to camp. And one of the campers is I'm tired of this, Grandpa. And she's well, too damn bad. But for real, she's ho, you better keep rowing, otherwise you're gonna die.
This scene is actually where I noticed Holly Hunter for the first time. Yeah, I was oh, wait, there she is. She's one of the little rowers in the back.
I'll have to rewatch that scene. So Michelle and the kids do get back to camp, all disheveled and shit. And Jeff, the supervisor, is the fuck happened to you guys? And he doesn't believe what Michelle is telling him, that there's a killer on the loose, everybody's fucked, and Michelle is obviously frustrated. But then Jeff sees the distraught campers coming up the dock, and he's oh shit. And Michelle says, Jeff, you little fucker, you better get on this motorboat with me so we can go find Alfred and Todd.
She's now being a boss bitch. She's we need to find these kids. While in the woods, Alfred finds some sort of abandoned open structure. A lot of it is dilapidated. While exploring it, he is unfortunately taken by Cropsey. Todd hears his screams and eventually finds the structure himself as well.
And this is a whole thing. Like, is it just me, or is this whole Indiana Jones abandoned building maze scene like way too long?
Way too long and so unnecessary.
It's just
like it really has no point.
It's like Todd looking around like, okay, where's Alfred? Alfred's like, well, and this could have been cut down so much.
Immensely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so now Cropsey has Alfred, boohoo, and he traps him on a wall by like jamming the shears onto one of his arms and pinning him to a wall. Ouch, first of all. But couldn't you also use your other arm and unpin your pinned arm?
Yep.
And I get like he might be watching you, but you could definitely just take those shears and stab the dude.
Yeah. As he's pinned, Todd, he is still outside because also, I don't know if we mentioned, but Alfred gets like taken by Cropsey like into almost this like abandoned like mine shaft or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird. The whole thing is like doesn't really make sense. But Todd finds a door to this little like mine shaft, presumably where Alfred was taken. While exploring, trying to find Alfred, he trips and he accidentally stumbles upon Karen's dead body.
I was so confused by this scene. I was like, is that Karen's body? What?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
I mean, they could have done a little better with.
This is Cropsey's lair where he's keeping his dead humans. Then, crazy Cropsey is what I'm going to call him. Oh. He comes out of a corner and he lights a flamethrower and he's threatening Todd. But then Cropsey all of a sudden like disappears, like kind of runs away. Todd recalls being part of the prank that burned him.
Yeah, he starts getting flashbacks and I'm not sure if he's confused. Like, how have you not put this together yet?
Yeah, like did he have selective memory, or like sometimes when you have really intense PTSD, it'll just get blocked out from like your memory.
But dude, homeboy was saying this story verbatim at the campfire the other night.
Like if that wouldn't bring up some memories, like I don't know what will.
And
apparently the flamethrower.
And what the fuck? Where did he get a flamethrower?
I know.
Was it also in the Lady of the Night's apartment?
You know, it's in her repertoire,
her arsenal.
Also, is he not so scared of fire? I feel like if you were burned that badly, it's like kind of surprising to me that you had your shears, but now you are like, I'm going to go full-fledged 0 to 100 and get a flamethrower.
He's facing his fears.
You know what? You're right. This is all therapeutic.
Yes.
Huh? That's true. The producer just said, not like he could get burned more.
Or can he?
Fuck, we don't know. Todd then hears what sounds like Alfred's muffled yelling, and Todd is able to find him pinned with Cropsey's shears, like we mentioned, and Cropsey tries to attack him with the flamethrower. So now he's like, okay, now I'm going to use this bitch on you.
Todd somehow dodges all of the flamethrower shots. Like, are you a ninja?
I mean, I've never really seen a flamethrower in real life, so I don't know like how accurate they are. But yeah, agreed. I was like, oh, okay, you really like dodged those very adequately. But in this scene is where we see just how damaged Cropsey's burns are. Like we get like a full view of just how damaged he is and how burned his whole body is.
And this is the scene where Tom Savini, the master Tom Savini, didn't like the makeup look on Cropsey because he only had 3 days to do it and he thought he could do better. But Tom, we still love you.
We don't know what we don't know. So we don't know how good it could have been because we got what we got. But I think he did a hell of a good job for 3 days.
It would take me, I wouldn't be able to do it, first of all.
Same.
But yeah.
Meanwhile, Alfred manages to take the shears and stabs Cropsey in the back. And this seemingly is like killing him. In another scene, Michelle is leading an emergency helicopter to where she thinks Todd might be. Hell yeah, Michelle. This reminds me of when Dr. Ellie from Jurassic Park in the third one, when she knows that Dr. Grant is in danger, and so she calls the fucking National Guard and they show up at the end to save everybody. Anyways, and as Alfred and Todd are walking out of the mine because they think everything's fine.
Yeah, they're like, woohoo, we did it.
Yeah.
But that's never the case, right?
No. Cropsey, of course, sneaks up behind them and he grabs Alfred, but Todd swings an axe that he oddly found earlier and he crops Cropsey's face. Get it?
And yes, that's very cute. That belongs on a t-shirt. But the flamethrower goes off again and does get Cropsey. Like, what the fuck happened there? But sure.
Poor freaking guy.
So
dude.
Cropsey is actually burned again and potentially dead.
He is. Goodbye. Bye-bye, buddy. Do we feel like Alfred is the true hero here, even as like the bullied kid turned like final slasher boss?
I honestly wouldn't call him a final slasher boss. I think he got fucking lucky. Like, yeah, you was used as bait, but you got lucky because you could have been on that raft and had your fingers cut off and your chest stabbed.
You being a little bit of a peeping Tom sort of led to you like getting into all of these bad situations. So
we still have some work to do on you.
Yeah. There's still some things to be done.
Yeah.
How effective do you feel like the reveal is that Todd was like involved in Cropsey's origin? Does it add like weight to the story or just age-old slasher logic?
I think they made it so evident from the beginning, at least in my eyes.
Like when they mentioned Todd was like, "Oh, I was in camp 5 years ago."
Yeah, but
like
obviously too, like you have the odds are pretty good if you have a group of hooligans at the top.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, I could almost guarantee you that one of those hooligans is going to be a camp counselor in a horror movie.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's like if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be one of the kids involved.
Yeah, so I saw that coming, and thank you for not making me overthink movie.
Yeah.
I didn't have to use my brain.
That's true. That's true.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted more from it. I think I didn't mind Todd being like involved and this all coming back to like circle back and the revenge and stuff. But what happened to the other campers? Are you only going after Todd because he is a camp counselor now? And maybe that's just triggering for Mr. Cropsey and he's like, fuck that shit. Or did Cropsey have some plans to go after like every single other kid that was like part of his burning demise? The fact that Cropsey like didn't kill Alfred, he only like pinned him kind of in the mine shaft, almost like bait. It's like he clearly was trying to get at Todd. Was Todd the one of the main culprits in like the plan to like prank Cropsey back in the day? I mean, I have like a lot of questions, but I kind of wish in the film, if it wasn't so rushed, maybe they would have developed that part a little bit more.
Explained a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, it just would have been cool to like reveal. It would have been cool also to see Todd almost start to reveal or start to realize a little sooner, like, oh shit, this might all be because of me or like because of things I did 5 years ago at camp or what have you. So thought that was just, a little interesting.
But Cropsey be dead again. And we see his body poetically burn.
Ooh. Love that. And then the scene cuts to like a brand new campfire where some campers are retelling the Cropsey legend.
The way the story is told is by a new counselor to new campers, but the story is exactly the same. So I'm wondering, how does nobody know this actually happened? And why are they still telling this story?
No, totally.
But I thought it was kind of cool that they ended with circling back to this cautionary tale.
Absolutely. And Cropsey may be gone, but his legend and hunger may never die.
But he might get burned again.
I agree too, though. I think the very ending of this film is one of my favorite parts. I like that because just like we talked about these themes of cautionary tales and like urban legends and stuff, it's like, this is exactly how it all happens. Is it something someone witnesses, the story gets told, and then it gets told over and over and over again, and it like sometimes transforms into something. So I did like kind of like how this ended, but did this ending feel like triumphant or just like a warning that this cycle is going to continue?
I don't know how to explain this, but I felt like it was a blob. Like it was just there.
It was just there.
Yeah, that's how it ended. Cool.
Would you tell the legend if you were that counselor roasting marshmallows?
Do I know that it actually happened?
Yeah.
Actually, then yes, probably.
I was going to say, I'd probably tell it.
I feel like, but I'd be more like, do you want to know what?
I'd be like, you guys are going to want to hear this.
Yes.
What were like your overall final thoughts?
My final, like I said, this movie is just kind of there for me. I do love an 80s slasher. Sure, I'll watch one any day, but it's just this didn't have a lot of development in it. And some people do like that we know who the killer is from the very beginning. Some people don't. I was neither here nor there. I do like that it's based off of that Cropsey tale loosely, of the actual Cropsey who was tormenting children in the 70s and 80s. But again, as far as a movie as a whole, it was just there. And I do like Friday the 13th better, since I know it's compared a lot to that, but there's room for everybody on the table or at the table.
I agree with you that I think, thank God, this was based on something, because if this was just like a made up I don't know, if it just didn't have, it really didn't have a lot of substance to it, but like at least this being loosely based on some kind of real lore out there definitely helped it for me. I didn't really love it. I think true to its production, it felt very rushed. It felt like a lot of the characters I couldn't connect with. I couldn't even really connect with like the killer that much. I just need more.
I need more. I understand leaving us guessing, but this could have used more and could have used more explaining and backstory rather than Todd running around that abandoned building.
I also think like if we knew this really wasn't going to have a lot of substance to it and was so rushed, I would have loved some more creative writing and maybe more funny scenes or more like outrageous things that were just like, wait, what the fuck? I think the only thing that really sticks out to me is that kill on the raft where like 5 of the campers get killed at once. I do like the ending, how it does come for full circle with like a campfire type vibe. But yeah, it really didn't do much for me. But you know what? Another one on the totem pole of camp horror.
Yes. 80s slasher.
So I know like we didn't particularly love it. You actually probably loved it a little bit more than I did. But like, can you think of why it might be such a cult classic for people?
That's a really good question. And it makes me think about other cult classics. And I can't really pinpoint that because except for that it was an 80s slasher movie, which I do love, but just literally nothing besides maybe the raft scene where everybody gets slaughtered. The killer himself wasn't very unique. I don't know. Do you have any idea?
My thought is that it may resonate with people from the New York area. It's got to be something where people are like, it's just cool that this is something we've heard of before. Something else too, like related to that is I saw in some of our research that this film actually did extraordinarily well in New York, specifically like upstate New York. I do feel like it has a lot to do with people that are just familiar with this tale, familiar with the story, maybe people that have like truly heard it at campfires themselves. And then they're seeing this now made into like a huge slasher movie on the tails of Friday the 13th.
For sure.
To me, that's got to be part of it.
Like, and well, also, you know, the documentary that I mentioned that came out in 2009, that probably resurged some interest in Cropsey.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And also, if they made a film about a urban legend or a tale in San Diego, we would be all over that shit.
So true. I mean, I know I would for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, things come in cycles too. Urban legends had a big resurgence. I feel like when the movie like Urban Legend literally came out, there may just be times when this film is just really like hitting its stride and a lot of people are into it. And I think genre horror is also very big right now. So just camp horror or like slasher, 80s slasher. I mean, this fits into a lot of little niche kind of like lists, cabin horror, kind of anything like along those lines. I feel like they're all in the same universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. And it just goes in cycles of cultiness.
Yeah. If this is one of your favorite films, we would love to hear from you guys who are listening. Let us know what you love about it. Definitely open to hearing.
And if it is one of your favorite films, or if it's not, go watch that documentary called Cropsey.
I think I'm going to watch that actually after, because I feel like I wonder if that would change my mind on it.
Probably not, but it's still very interesting.
Well, everyone, that was The Burning. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. And if you'd like some bonus content, then please come and join us over on Patreon with our Spooky Chicks Social Club over there. We love everyone on Patreon. And you can support us by leaving a review wherever it is that you listen. But honestly, the best way that you can support us is just by telling a friend that you love the podcast. And with that, Allison, would you like to close us out?
Fuck yeah. Just remember, fire is hot, garden shears are sharp, and stay spooky fuckers.